Hello, welcome to the Blackout Podcast where I get to talk to amazing people who do amazing things. And today it's about love. We're getting married. I'm with Ashley Groves of Happily Hitched today. Thanks for coming to the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, Happily Hitched. What's the story there? What is Happily Hitched?
We are a wedding chapel, and we're located right downtown Halifax, right actually at Pizza Corner. Mm-hmm. So super fun area.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy because like when I moved to Halifax and people are like, there's a pizza corner, and it didn't make sense until like when you go out at night, then like, yeah.
It comes alive.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So why did you decide to start the business, and what was the process of getting it set up?
Well, I was doing larger weddings before I got into doing micro weddings and elopements. So when we moved to Nova Scotia, I opened up the Wedding Grove. And so I was working around the province doing sort of like 150, 100 person weddings. And I've really been seeing people scaling back.
Was it because of COVID or?
It was a mix of a lot of things. And honestly, so before we moved to Nova Scotia, we lived in Toronto. And I was working on starting a chapel in Toronto before the pandemic. And kind of getting those things in place. And then the pandemic happened and everything shut down, especially events. And it was at that time we decided, you know what? We're over being here. We're going to move to somewhere else. And I suggested Halifax. We moved here. After doing some of the larger weddings and seeing people having to scale back due to COVID, and then we started getting into the point where weddings are getting really expensive. They've always been expensive, but they're getting really expensive.
What was the reason behind that? Like
with the cost going up?
Yeah.
A lot of things. I mean, the cost of living is going up. The pandemic also caused a lot of backlog in the wedding industry, especially in things like florals and catering. So we're seeing costs go up for food and for fresh consumables like florals. So that's all getting passed on down to the couples. And labor's hard to come by. So not even if they have the actual materials or the resources, they don't have the staff to do it. So it's
it's the people, like it's like human beings, or like the people that actually cost the most in any chain of supply.
Right. When the cost of shipping, fuel, everything has gone up. So it's a trickle down effect, and people just can't spend $30,000 to $40,000 on a wedding, which is the average cost right now in Canada.
I'm sorry, what?
30. And that's an average wedding. That's not like we're going crazy or anything. This is like maybe you're at a nice hotel and you've got like a nice 3-course meal and you've got some flowers, but nothing like outrageous. You don't have ceiling installations. Yeah.
40 grand.
40,000.
Yeah, we can't get divorced. I'm sorry.
Can't afford to get married, never mind divorce.
I'm like, what? Anyway, so you looked at that and thought, first, let's go back. You said when you're in Toronto, you want to start a chapel. Why?
So my first career was social work. So I was a social worker in addictions and mental health for 8 years in downtown Toronto. But I was also working theater and production on the side. And the more I was thinking that I'd want to change my career from social work, the more I got into production. And then that led me to get into event planning, and I did some corporate stuff. And then I was also the go-to event planner for all my friends and family. So for all their weddings and baby showers and all these things. So I had all of these skills. And when we decided I was going to leave social work and get into my own business, that's kind of the direction I went. And I love. I love them so. I love it so much. I love weddings. So when I came here, I thought natural progression.
But like, why a chapel though? Because you can just do the wedding thing. But like, why a space where the people can come in and do it?
You know, I think it really aligns with my values and something that I would want to do. I've been married before. I had a large wedding before, and
was it like 40 grand too?
No, it was not. It was 15 years ago. So okay. It was a lot less expensive then.
Right.
But it was not inexpensive, I would say. And I had a smaller wedding. I had about like 60 people. So I know what is involved with having a a traditional wedding, and the costs and the pressure. Because like whether you do it for 60 people or you do it for 150 people, you're getting this. You still have to get the same amount of vendors for that. It's really just you're increasing your food costs. But so I knew everything that went into planning a large wedding, and I also knew that I would never want to go through that again.
Right.
So a chapel appeals to me. It's something that I would want to do. And it's actually a trend that was starting about 5 years ago.
So it's not like that Vegas thing.
Oh, well, it is. Well, a little bit. I mean, like, look, Vegas has been doing micro weddings and elopements for decades. They've got the recipe down. They know that there's a place for it. People want it.
Yeah.
But you have to travel there to do it.
Right.
So if you don't have a wedding, or you don't have a budget to do a wedding for 30 or 40,000 here, you're maybe not going to also like take a trip to Vegas, and so this gives people a local option. It's nice that it's in downtown Halifax because we're close to tons of restaurants. We're close to lots of hotels, so we have people come in from out of town, like New Brunswick and Newfoundland, and we've had people from Quebec. So they have somewhere to stay, they have somewhere to eat and party after, and they don't have to like buy out a whole restaurant or like buy out a venue.
Yeah, no, and it's like come here and everything is in one place.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a photographer there. We do the cake, we do the bubbly toast. We have the just the piece. So you're paying one price to one vendor, and everything's taken care of for you.
Okay, so you guys moved here during COVID?
Yeah, 2020. October 2020.
So you moved here, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna start the thing. How did you settle on the place you finally settled on? What was the process of getting it set up and all that stuff?
Well, we were looking around at a lot of different places, and I knew that I sort of wanted to be downtown. And so when I started looking, and I saw this ad, I think it actually might have been on Facebook, and I saw this brick in the photo, and I was like, "That's beautiful. This is too good to be true. Let's go look at it." And we went down and we opened the door, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is it." So the space was, I think it had been an art studio before.
Oh, okay.
So it was pretty like blank slate, beautiful brick wall. The floors were pretty much redone. So. It's funny, we walk in and the first thing I go is like, I don't really have to do much to the space at all. And then you get into it and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to put in a kitchen. Like I put in a little kitchenette, with a sink and dishwasher and fridge. We painted everything white. The ceilings were white. We worked on plumbing. We worked on electrical. We changed out all the light fixtures, changed out all the baseboards. So there actually was a lot of work that went into it, but it's funny because when I first walked in, I thought, oh, there's not much to do in this room at all.
Okay, and how long did it take to get it set up?
It was pretty fast, actually.
Oh, okay.
We I got the keys in February, like early February, and all through February and March we were doing renos, and I actually had someone come in and do them for us because I was busy also planning my wedding season for the Wedding Grove.
Right, because you had that one too.
I still had the larger weddings.
Do you still have that?
I do. I'm scaling back. I only have one real big wedding this summer, and then we're scaling down and focusing on Happily Hitched.
So you had that wedding. Sorry, the bigger one in Toronto too, right?
No, so I was working on
setting that up. Oh, so okay,
Yeah.
cool. So when you came in, you had the Wedding Grove happening.
I started it here.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you started. Why did you decide to come to the smaller one? Like, was that always part of the plan, or?
Yeah, I mean, originally I had always wanted to do a chapel first, but coming into a new province where I had no contacts, no real community or anything here, the thought of actually going in and getting a venue, a physical space, was really daunting to me until I had established myself a little bit more.
And what was the process of establishing yourself?
Community, really getting connections with people. So those first couple years with the Wedding Grove, doing the larger weddings, getting to know tons of vendors, getting to know the wedding community, getting to know the business community. So being part of the Halifax Chamber, going to the networking events and the dinners and that sort of thing. And also like B&I had a bunch of networking events. And so I was really just trying to get to...
What was that?
Business networking.
Oh.
Is it business international? Business Networking International. So they have chapters in the province, and so I belonged to a chapter, and so we would do weekly meetings and networking things. So really getting my business network set up and my wedding industry network set up so that I would have the perfect contacts for people when they needed them.
Okay, what was the first wedding for Wedding Grove, and what was the first wedding for the chapel?
Oh, okay. First wedding for the Wedding Grove. Do
You
remember?
don't have to remember
I
the
don't
wedding.
know if I remember.
But what was the, I guess, what do you remember about it, or the process of setting it up?
So the first few that I did, I actually was assisting another, and this actually happens a lot in the wedding industry.
Kind of like get mentored by...
Exactly. It's like, so who do you know? What are the processes? Getting to know the venues here. So I worked with Roberta from Love Nest Events. Fabulous planner and such a lovely human being, and she was just so welcoming and supportive, and she, to this day still is. And so worked with her on a few weddings and got to know the ropes of some of the local vendors. I was coordinating weddings, like day of coordinating at Oceanstone Resort.
What does coordinating involve?
So basically, I come in on the day of. So the plans have been put into place, and there's already time. And so I come in and I execute.
Make it,
I make it happen.
Right. But now you have to be both the planner and the coordinator, or do you have a coordinator?
I do that myself, yeah. So.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm like, who comes to you? Is it the bride or the groom that comes to you?
It depends. Very often, like if it's you know, if it is a couple that with a bride and a groom, it is often the bride, but not always.
Okay, so the bride comes and was like, yeah, I want to do my wedding. What happens?
We have, so for Happily Hitched?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I do is I send them a...
No. For wedding
for a
Grove.
bigger...
Yeah.
So I would do a consult with them.
Okay.
And I like to, like the first consult, I'd like to have both people there just so that we're on the same page.
No, I don't want this. Yeah, I want
this. And look, I think it's an interview both ways too. Right? They're looking to see if I'm the right fit for what their vision is and whether or not I can execute that and whether or not they want to work with me for, sometimes it could take a year and a half to plan a wedding or more.
See, that's the
a
one
long process.
You know what? Okay. I'll something that you get like an email or whatever, and they're like, join us at our wedding in freaking 11 months down the road. Like, and I'm always, I mean, I'm not like a doomsday person, but like, it's 11 months.
A lot can happen.
Yeah, like anything can happen.
COVID taught us anything. If anything can happen.
Yeah.
And you know what? That, like, when we first came here, tons of people were having to replan their wedding at the last minute. And so coordinating all of these vendors and doing like scheduling gymnastics and trying to figure it all out. Like people really needed planners, especially during COVID and just after COVID when there was a boom.
So you guys have this mutual interview, and then what happens?
So if it works out and I think I think this is a good fit for what I do and what I can offer, and they think that I'm a good fit, I will send them a proposal. And so that's pricing what I do and also what I don't do, because it's important for people to know that. There are certain things where I require their vendors to do these things, like things like bussing tables, clearing tables, doing that kind of cleaning. I can arrange with them to do that, and I can hire people to bring them in.
What is bussing tables?
Or like clearing the dirty dishes.
Oh, okay.
And like glassware and all that sort of thing.
Right. So isn't it like the people that serve the food that do that? Yeah.
Yeah, usually, though not always. And it depends on also what they're planning on doing for food. So some people, they decide like if they want their family to all bring in food, and they do like a buffet kind of thing.
No.
But you have to consider who's cleaning that up.
Right. What the
Yeah. And I'm like, and if I'm the one who's
we're not doing a potluck wedding. What the hell? No,
people do it, and especially if they're trying to save money, right?
Right. But no.
It's a thing. Or like some vendors, they've arranged with the caterer, and this has been happening a lot with staffing, right? They're like, oh well, we want catered food, but they can only do one wedding a day or two weddings a day because they only have enough staff for a certain number, so they'll get the food dropped off.
No.
It happens. So I had to be very clear up front about, yes, what do I do? What do I not do? And if you want me to help you do these things, we can do that, but we have to talk about what that costs.
Right. So it's like you're being cost effective, but you're like, if you want to, then yeah, sure, we can just keep going.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then Wedding Grove, we've talked about it a lot, but you're scaling back on that. You're talking about Happily Hitched down.
Yeah.
So what you got a chapel set up.
Yep.
What happened next?
So we did the official ribbon cutting in May.
Oh.
So the Halifax Chamber of Commerce. I was actually their first ribbon cutting
Nice.
that they ever did. So that was fun to kick that off. And since then, it's, the inquiries are rolling in and people are getting hitched. The thing with Happily Hitched too, and the fact that it's a wedding chapel, there are a bunch of people who want to get married, but they're keeping it on the down low. They don't really want people to know they got married, or they're going to announce it later, or they're doing a small wedding and then they'll do a big party later. So it's a very different vibe, and I like it. I like how laid back it is. The couples that come work with us are usually pretty, they're pretty chill, which is a nice thing on a wedding day. And by the time they get there, they know that I've taken care of all of the details, so they're so relaxed and they're so happy, and it's just a nice time.
Okay, so let's talk about the process for the Happily Hitched.
Yeah.
Is it still the bride too?
Often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they
Not always.
go online, or what happens?
Yeah, so online I have a booking request form. I used to have a calendar where people could kind of pick their dates, but it got tough because if they were holding a date but didn't sign something, then somebody else couldn't book it. So what I started doing is people could send, they fill out their information, what size wedding they want, because I have a few different options, and then send me some dates that they're interested in, and then I would get back to them, letting them know what days are available, and send them a quote.
What are option for the sizes?
So we have minimonies, which I know, it's such a cute name, right?
Yeah.
And so that's sort of like our mid-tier. So that's, you get the couple and 10 guests. So that's pretty nice medium size. We have straight up elopements where it's the couple and 2 witnesses.
Oh, you need to have witnesses?
Legally, you need 2 witnesses, but if they don't have someone to bring with them, we can also witness for them.
Why do you need a witness? Okay, cool.
Legally, it's just part of the paperwork.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
so and then
the micro weddings are up to 20 people. So it's the couple plus up to 20 guests.
Mini, micro, and elopement.
Yeah.
Okay. And so do you have to be I guess certified in some way to do the signing, what do you call those people? You know those
Justice
people?
of the Peace or officiants, yeah. So I'm not a Justice of the Peace. Nova Scotia is not currently appointing new Justice of the Peace at the moment because we have enough of them. But I work with a few really fabulous ones, and so when I have a wedding, I reach out to them.
What do you mean by there's enough of them? There's just too many?
Yeah, there was a period of time, and I think it was 2017, 2018, they went through appointing a whole bunch of Justice of the Peace because they just needed more. And so many people applied and so many people got appointed.
What is the process to become one? Is it a big thing, or?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure because I haven't got that far yet. But
yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah, so you put in an application.
So right now they're nope, no more. Okay, and then a couple of them.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just contact them when I have weddings coming up, and they come in. I mean, ceremonies don't take very long.
How long is an average?
I mean, legally, there's only 3 things that need to be said to make it legal. Everything else is
what are the 3 things?
So declare if there's any reason that they know that they cannot be married. They have to make sure that they have to ask that they want to get married.
Oh, okay.
And then they also have to declare and have people witness it.
Right. That's why I needed 2 people. At least 2 people.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Everything else is just,
so,
it's nice to have.
Is that the thing when they're if there's anyone that doesn't want these people to be married and the thing? Okay.
I mean, I feel like that's a little bit dramatized for TV or movies, but it's more they're asking the couple.
Oh.
Do you know of a reason that you cannot marry this person? Do you know if you've been married before?
God.
If you're not
I think
divorced,
I just know the next film I'm going to make. Yeah. So this couple, they are sitting there, and then they get asked this question, and then we jump back to the night before.
Oh no! Isn't that the theme of The Hangover?
Yeah.
Isn't that the theme of The Hangover?
Yeah. Basically.
It's a good one. There's a reason why, because it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
thing.
So you do these three things and that's it.
That's it. But they'll add in like, and that's why picking a just as the piece that, or an officiant that has some really lovely scripts and some things they work with and how they deliver it too, so it feels really heartfelt, and or light, and there's different vibes, and depending on what kind of vibe you want. Like we have a just as the piece who can do ceremonies in drag.
That's cool.
Devastation.
Oh, that's the best. That's the drag queen's name.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
And so we can do different things.
Right. Huh. So basically they say we want this and you're like, I can do this, or I can't do that. And then do you do catering in the space or?
So it's pretty short and sweet. So the elopements last for 45 minutes. So they have 45 minutes in the space, including the ceremony. So ceremony is usually like 15 minutes tops. And then the rest of the time we are, we're popping bubbly and we're cutting cake and we're doing photos. So what was the question again?
Yeah. No. I'm like,
oh yeah, so how long?
Like, yeah, and the
Catering.
food, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not really long enough to do a proper catering. The longest one, the micro wedding, is an hour and a half.
Okay.
So it's the same thing, right? We just have people mingling, we're taking photos, we're eating cake and doing bubbly, signing the papers. So it's not really enough time for...
Right. Do you ever have more than one in a day?
I can have more than one in a day because they're such, short and sweet.
Like,
I haven't done it yet.
Right.
But we do have some actually booked this year that are, 2 to 3 weddings a day.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So obviously you have to factor in the turnaround time and all that stuff. Okay. And then everyone comes in. Part of their contract is like, you have to get out when is your time.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like, the party doesn't have to stop, but I can't stay here.
No, you can't go away.
Lots of cool places, right? Like we're really close to all sorts of, like Lot 6 is right there. The new Stubborn Goat location, which was east of Grafton at one point, that's right there. 5 Fishermen just down the road. Like there's so many great places that people can go.
So you mentioned earlier that you love love, and what do you love about love?
It's especially for weddings. People are there to support each other, and they genuinely want to see happiness and success and joy. And even if there are, personal issues, I find that, especially on the smaller weddings, people try to put those aside just to be in the moment and present and happy and finding something to celebrate and be joyful about. Especially after the really dark times of COVID, I think it's a beautiful thing, and I love being part of it.
And the name, how did you come up with the name?
That credit goes to my partner, Jay. Actually, he's named the last few businesses I've had, like the last few businesses I've done. So it's just, I like the alliteration of it, the Happily Hitched Halifax. Just fun.
Right. Okay, and there's the other thing. There's like a wedding season too.
Yep.
Is that also part of or do you have weddings out of seasons at the chapel?
Absolutely. So wedding season is generally like mid-May to like mid-October kind of deal. That's like peak. Everybody wants to get married during those times, generally because the weather's nicer.
Yep.
But we run all year round, so people can we had a New Year's Eve wedding.
Oh, that's cool.
We do them like on like Wednesdays and random times. So we're there to be available to people when they need it.
Awesome. Okay, thanks for sharing. I freaking love it. Actually, what was the story here?
So we were actually, this is part of the promo shoot that we were doing. And I walked into David's Bridal. I was looking for a wedding dress and some little accessories, and this and plus 2 other jackets. One that says "Till Death," which is some people's vibe. It's really fun. Yeah. And then another just plain "Just Married" jacket. Yeah. And so I got a few of them for people to play around with and photos and glasses, some fun props. We have some flowers and things if people don't have flowers when they arrive and they want some. Yeah.
Yeah, man, you hook everybody up.
We sure do.
Okay. So I was like, it's a new year. There's something. Someone asked me a question that blew my mind. So I was like, every guest that comes on, I have to ask them this question.
Oh.
And like, I don't like how I wrote it down. So I keep like twisting it based on the conversation we had. But it's, the spirit of the question is the same. And the idea is, what's something that happened to you, like, something you experienced before you were 17 that is responsible for all the things you're doing now? I know.
This is going to take a whole other podcast, my friend, because I left home when I was 14 and was taken in by a beautiful couple. They were already retired. They had grandkids my age, but they took me in and they raised me like their own kids. And they had a beautiful, beautiful marriage, 58 years.
Wow.
Before my foster dad passed. And so that to me that was the model of love and support in a relationship and a real partnership. And it made me want to strive for that. And I love helping other people find that too.
Oh man, thanks for sharing that. Okay, and then I thought, since like, I'm like, when it was so crazy, but then I learned something that will ease the show out with like a fun thing.
Okay.
It's a magic trick that a friend taught me.
Okay.
You pick a number between 1 and 60.
Okay.
And I'll give you, okay, I'm just going to put one on the jacket. Pick the number and then write it down here.
Okay.
Don't show me. Just point it to the camera.
Okay.
And after I do a couple of things, I'll tell you what your number is, hopefully.
Oh, I didn't write it very big.
Yeah, we should be fine. Can we see it? All right. Okay. You got your number?
I've got my number.
Okay. Is it in here? 'Cause it might be more than one of these, though, so I'll be sure you. Is it here?
I don't see it there.
Okay. I'm going to go away. Is it here?
I do not see it there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Is it here?
Yes.
Okay. It's here. Is it here?
No.
Okay. Is it here?
It is, yes.
I'm shaking. Is it here?
Yes, it is.
Oh my God. So now I have to go and talk to the masters and stuff and then try to find your thing. But is it 44?
It is 44. That was fun. I appreciate that.
Ashley, thanks so much for coming to the podcast today.
So much fun. Thank you so much.